Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful Wednesday with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn, and thank you for joining the Live with Lloyd family. As you see, I have a very distinguished guest on that's coming on in a moment. Her name is Queen B. It's going to be a very, very interesting show today. And what I want to do is, first of all, before I do all of that and bring my wonderful guest on, is say hi, thank you, everybody. Listen, I do want to thank you very much. I do want to say a special thanks to Jazz Aphrodite that filled in for me Monday. I got back in town. I saw some of it. She was very good with her illustrations. When it comes to the graphics, technology, computers, she's good, and her knowledge of things is good. So please support her, show her love, order her charts, everything of that nature. Just help a sister out, as they say. All righty. And definitely use her services. Before I bring on my guest, let me tell you this, that the show is today's forecast is being brought to you by Nicholas Brooklyn. They're going to have a couple of events, which I'm going to talk about at some point. They're going to have an event on Saturday, the 14th. They're going to have two guests coming on. Then on Sunday, I will be there when Brother James Small and Brother Kaba, which I've been blessed to know both of them. So I'll be there. They want me to say something. Well, we'll see. But anyway, it is brought to you by Nicholas Brooklyn. Also, Intellectual Powers by Rizza Islam and his wonderful supplements. Click on the QR code to get a discount. Also, Miss Kimberly, who sponsors the show every week, Manifest on Purpose. Please visit her website. And as for Jazz Aphrodite, she's sponsoring the show. So she's having sales on it. She's having 20% discount. So please take advantage of it. She's making her jewelry available. Her books are also available. And this gives you an idea what her jewelry is. And we'll go back to that at some point. Okay. And also she's having an event coming up on the weekend of January the 11th. So with that said, I do want to bring on my guest. This is this is going to be a very interesting show tonight. I guarantee you. We're going to talk about a fantastic brother. In fact, we're going to bring her on right now. And Queen B, how are you? Aisha, how you doing, lady? Hold. Let me Okay, got you. Now speak. We got
Can you hear me?
hear you very loud and clear. Hear you well. How
All
you
right.
doing?
Peace and love, Lloyd. Peace and love to the Live with Lloyd family. Peace and love to the moderator, Empress Rel, and everybody that's in the building. Make sure when you enter the building, you hit that like button. And tonight, in honor of MJ, we're going to need you to share this video with at least two people that you know love Michael Jackson. Just share it to them. They ain't got to watch it live. Just share it to them. Peace and love. I'm so happy and honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, let me tell you this, Queen B. It is an honor and a pleasure. And it's interesting, when I asked you to be on the show a bit, you said you wanted to do Michael Jackson. Why Michael Jackson?
Well, Lloyd, I am the cultural preservationist, and Michael Jackson is Black American royalty. And not only that, he's just royalty in general. Of course, in his name, he didn't look at race, but as being a Black American, it's something that all of us grew up with. Someone that was great, that we could look up to, a family unit that we could look up to, and see the greatness that came out of a small town. And look what he did. I mean, he broke every barrier, and he's number one. And that's why I chose him, because he's greatness. He's generational. I love him. My daughter loved him. She had a love for him. When she was born, and then when he passed, it was very emotional for us. So I love Michael Jackson. And something else, I love to really do these astro-numerical breakdowns on people, especially more so of deceased people, for privacy reasons. And even in that respect, you want to keep some things private, because, it is a private matter. But, it's a little bit public knowledge of everything with him, obviously, because he's the king of pop. And people don't know that Michael Jackson is the second most translated name and search name across the world, second to Jesus. And that's the honest to God's truth.
Listen, anytime you get second to Jesus, that's saying something. And in
That's
fact, there's a quote from the Guinness Book of Records that says the most successful entertainer of all time sold more records than any artist ever. That is their quote.
yes,
Sold more awards than any other artist ever.
ever. And we're going to get into a lot of that tonight, Lloyd. So I'm very excited. I'm pumped up.
Oh
This is
yeah,
what I
yeah.
love doing. This is what we do on BTV too. We Black education empowers true vision. So we educate. We're cultural preservationists. We want to lead the nation in mental elevation and mental awareness of things. And the Astro Numerical piece is just another part that we can use to the puzzle to really uplift the community and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make a better tomorrow for the kids, because the kids are the future. And we'll see that through a lot tonight with Michael Jackson's love for children, and blasphemy on anything, saying that he did anything wrong to a child. He could never hurt a child.
Yeah, and not only that, but what they don't say was he was the most astute businessman in the world of
Yes.
music than anybody. I mean, I don't care what nobody says. And only when you told me you were doing this and I started doing my research. In fact, I wrote a piece on him in my newest book, uh, Numerology for the 21st Century and Beyond, Lloyd's Book of Numbers. But
Yes.
I had no idea until I went down the rabbit hole. And so what we want to do, oh yes. So what we want to
Look at
do in
that.
this, yeah, this is the book right
Yeah,
here.
we don't play around right here. This is the book right here. We don't play.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is this is edification and education. We do Black
yes.
education and powers. We do
This is
research
on
and
page
we learn from master teachers around here.
272. And in
Yeah,
fact, I would think that
absolutely.
most people probably remember where they were at the time they heard that Michael Jackson died. That's rare. That's rare to
Yes.
say. I remember when I got out of a train station, I went to visit a client. And when I had heard it, soon as I stepped out, it was almost like a wildfire that he had passed away. So there are things you just remember and whatnot.
Yes.
But I think
And
it's
not
one.
only that, when he died, Lloyd, it actually stopped the war. They were having like a active duty zone war over there in the Middle East, and they actually ceased fire for like a whole like 24 to 48 hours in memoriam of Michael Jackson's death. So that's the frequency of the two. That's the power of the two. The two has the potential and the energy to bring world peace. A lot of world peace treaties were signed in the 2 year. So, that's what we're going to see tonight through Michael Jackson's numerology. We're going to unreveal all those little tidbits. And I'm super excited to get the family involved. The family's always involved. And you guys, as you know, I'm usually over there. I am the family. I'm part of the Live with Lloyd family. You know what I mean? I'm part of the family, but tonight I'm presenting and I want the family to be involved. So, what I need from the family right now, before we even get into the numbers, I need the family to get a pad and a pen, because I'm going to give you 11 numbers that I need you to keep track of throughout the broadcast. Okay, so we're going
Yeah.
to track together. I need you guys to help keep score from me so we can make sure these numeralytics are on point. I'm a data analyst, so I love numbers and I deal with them all day. And I want to make sure that the data is on point when we get finished with the broadcast tonight.
And let me say this for Queen B and I. When we
Mhm.
talk about Michael Jackson, we want you to say what period did you recall him in? The late 60s, the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s? And as I began to do some additional research, I was just nobody. There is no one on this planet artistically, musically, culturally that can compare to him. He is known all over the world, literally.
Literally.
Very few people have that. And what people
And
don't
not
know,
only not only
hmm,
is he known, Lloyd, he's known and he's treated like royalty when he goes to these countries. They have to get whole militaries to do security for Michael Jackson because of the impact and of the people that he brings out when he does get to these places. So they have actual military people to come over, and he's actually been knighted in countries or just
yeah,
honored
yeah,
royally by
yeah,
different
yeah.
presidents, in African countries and all that because of the work that he does. He's a huge humanitarian. He's given everything to charity, just creating his legacy. And like you said before, with him being big business, he's an 8. His name adds up to an 8. So that doesn't surprise me because 8s are big business. That's what they do.
And he had the master number in his first name 22 and the master number in his last name 22.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. And we're going to get into all that. And that's what that adding up to that 8, he's a big business person. His expression is big business. And the other thing about that 8 is that was his first cycle. So, 8 is kind of a tough first cycle for people because you're so young and that's a big energy to handle in the first cycle. But he
what sign
handling
was
it.
he?
He's a Virgo. He's
He
a
was a
Virgo
Virgo.
11, Virgo 2.
Hmm.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. So I
He's a
just want,
Virgo. Earth
so for
Earth
all you
sign water
Virgos out
number. We're
there,
gonna get into it.
so you
Yep,
can
he's a
feel
Earth
good about
sign water
yourself.
number. Yes.
Yep. Yep. Earth sign with a water number, which is a very
Yes.
nurturing person. And
Nurturing
I,
growth. Yep.
and you
Stimulation.
know what is interesting when they were talking about Wacko Jackson and all this other stuff and the pedophilia, I did not know he had made a major move where he owned half of Sony Records,
Yes.
Sony Music. He owned half of it. He
Yes.
owned the Beatles collection, which the Beatles catalog was worth at that time $47 million.
Right. And the deal ended up being like a $65 million deal at the end of the day when it was all said and done. And then not only that, this is a testament to his greatness and to him tapping into his own frequency because his frequency is the 2 and connected to the 7. So he's got the power of the law of attraction. So he actually, when he was a child in one of his interviews, they asked him who he liked and all that. And he said, "Oh, I really like the Beatles." So this man at like, look, well, he was a child at the time, like a 9-year-old child at the time, saying that he liked the Beatles and that's who he looks up to. And then he ended up growing up and buying their catalog. So, that's Black
Yeah,
American greatness right there. That's the
yeah.
bag. That's Black American greatness. I'm the queen of acronyms. Black education empowers true vision. So Black American greatness, that's the bag. We are the bag. We've been the bag. We're going to continue to be the bag. And that's what we do at BTV. It's a cultural preservation station. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my heritage and proud of who I am and proud of what our people have done for this entire world. And Michael Jackson's no different than the rest of us and our ancestors that have paved the way for all of us to be able to do what we're doing right now, being on this live and talking about the bag, Black American greatness, Michael Jackson.
I would like to confirm that we don't take nothing from nobody else now, nothing personal, but we are the greatest people on the planet. And it's
Please
in
believe it.
fact, Black people eventually is going to save this planet.
Please believe it. And it's funny that you say that because with BTV, that's the premise behind one of my whole shows called Justice on Earth, is that the Black Americans are going to be the ones to lead justice on Earth on this planet, like we always done. We've always led justice,
Yep.
with breaking racial barriers and getting civil rights for ourselves first, and then that being extended to the melanated family, and everybody coming here and being able to live together and do what we need to do. So that's what it's all about. We did it before and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to get back to that status. And that's what BTV is really about. It's about getting back to that status of Black American greatness and showing people who we are, showing us our hidden history, and letting us know that we could tap into that, tap in with our ancestors and move forward and progress as a nation and be the leading force instead of being at the bottom.
You know what I meant to do too was do the forecast for the day. I got so excited about getting started. So let me just do with this.
Please do.
Yeah, today is December the 11th. It's a master day. The sun is in Sagittarius. The moon is in Taurus. It went into Taurus this morning a little after 10 a.m. So if you had a child that was born before 10 this morning, the moon of your child would be in the sign of Aries. Okay. Other than that, they would be now Taurus. Mercury's still retrograde till the 15th. So by the end of the weekend, it's a full moon weekend at 2, I believe. It's an 11 universal month, a 4 universal week, a 4 universal day. If you are Leo, such as my guest, Queen B, or an Aquarius or Gemini, or born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month, you know what? This is your day. Let there be no question about that. So I am ready to start with the presentation. Are you?
I am super ready and I'm just super excited. I just really, before we get started too, I want to thank Lloyd. Lloyd, you're amazing. You're really the best. You're a master teacher. Just so, nurturing and like supportive. And that's really what we do at BTV. It's royalty rules. It's respect, uplifting, loving, empowering, and supporting each other. And you really exhibit those royalty rules. So I just want to give you your props before we start. I want to give the Live with Lloyd family props because they're here, you know, every time tuning in to get the knowledge. So thank you guys for everything that you do. And I appreciate it. And I'm ready to get started. I really am.
Thank you.
I
And in
am.
light of that, the extension comes from my mom and dad. God bless them. They really raised me.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll tell you all about that later. But let us get started with our presentation, folks. Here we
Yes,
go.
let us do it. So here we go. So we're talking today, guys. Obviously, we're talking about the king of pop, rock, and soul. I'm giving him all of that because he deserves it, and that's who he is. Michael Jackson, he was born on August 29th, 1958, and he transitions on 6/25, 2009. Obviously, too a little too early, for all of our liking. And he was really a great man, and we're gonna see that through his numbers tonight. So I do have a little bit of rules. I asked you guys to get a pen and paper out. You don't have to do all of these, but some of the main thing that I need you to do is I need you to keep the number count as we go through the numeralytics. I need you to keep the count. It's going to be 11 numbers. I'll make sure you have the 11 numbers before we actually get started. And then we're going to make sure we keep that count so we can update it. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you at different checkpoints to give me an update on the number so we can see it live updated, the graph that I'm going to show you. Okay. And the other thing I kind of want you to do is put the justice for MJ in the chat, the hashtag pound J for MJ, because really he deserves justice. No one ever apologizes to Michael Jackson. Shout
No,
out
they
to
never did.
JL.
They never did.
Yeah. Shout out, and I want to shout somebody out because they have a whole webcast about that. It's a what do you call it, like a blog, and her name is JL Rucker, and you can find that on Medium, and that was one of the sources that I used for a lot of the information that we gathered tonight. Shout out to her. You guys go check that out, JL Rucker, on Medium. And she does a blog, and it's called How Come No One Ever Apologized to Michael Jackson, and it's phenomenal. I mean, she covers everything. And obviously he's so phenomenal. All of his life can't be covered, in one sitting. So, you just try to pick the best things that you think and you move forward with it. But I also want you guys to tell me, what generation did you meet Michael Jackson in? Okay.
Yes.
Because he has a few generations, obviously. So did you meet him in the Jackson 5 generation? Did you meet him in the Off the Wall generation? Did you meet him in the Thriller generation? Did you meet him in the Bad generation? Did you meet him in the Dangerous generation? In the history, present, past, or future? So these are all, just tell us when you met him, what song. You can say the song or the album or whatever, if it's a performance. How did you meet him? Because he's so generational. So we all met him at different times in our lives. Um, and then what we want to do is make sure that we're like edifying him. So give us your favorite moment, performance, shade that he throws, because he does little number two Virgo shade. Anything that you remember that touches your heart. Let's flood this with memories of Michael Jackson. This is to edify him and edify his name and really get to know him through the numbers, because men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. Numerology, astro numerology, have not seen it lie once. Lloyd, have you seen it lie?
Huh?
Have you seen astro numerology lie once?
No, no. That's why I've
No,
been doing it all these years. That's why I
that's
wrote
right.
books. And I like those things. Men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't lie. That is
That's
very
right.
true. 2 + 2 is 4 all day long. Before we get into what I thought was interesting, when he transitioned on June the 25th, it was in the year 2009. When you take those
Yes.
zeros out, that's his 29th birthday, representing his 29th birthday. So I just think it's very, very interesting.
Very, very interesting, very poignant. And if when you add that together, it's actually that 11 first, and that was his frequency. So we're going to see a lot of that as we go along. And then we want to look at his key numbers and just keep track of the key numbers. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to the next slide. So this is the start. So this is a keys chart. So this is what you get if you want to come to Astro, to Numeralytics. We'll do a keys chart, and this is a kind of handy chart. it comes with different things. So what you see on this chart is what you may not get when you order a chart. So it can be customized for what you're looking for. So we can do that too. But this is Michael Jackson's keys chart. So we're just going to go through his keys chart a little bit to get to know him. And this is how we're going to get our data for our numbers and really make sure that we're honoring Michael Jackson and understanding who he is through these numbers. Okay, so the beginning of the keys chart, we're going to start on the left. This is going to kind of be more of the Astro side, and then we're going to get moved over to the numerical side. Okay, so to get started, we know he's born on August 29th. Everything I researched, it looks like he's born at 7:33 p.m., which is funny because 33 is his first name in Pythagorean. And you know, it's funny because his seven is his individual frequency, a part of
Mm-hmm.
his personal universal code. And when he was born, the moon was full. So we know that when the moon is full, it sits in an opposite sign of the zodiac that we're
And his
currently in.
moon, therefore, would be in Pisces.
Yes, so
That would
therefore
be
it would be
correct.
in Pisces.
That
So
is correct.
actually, Lloyd, that would make him a mutable earth sign and a mutable number sign, a mutable water.
Exactly right. Exactly
Yep.
right.
So, you know, he's very flexible. That's why you can see how kind and gentle he was. He was very flexible with people for the most part. You know, when he was attacked by the media, he didn't attack back. He just took everything they gave him, and you know, he spoke out sometimes and said that how it hurt him, but he didn't never attack back. He always stayed true to who he was and continued to be the humanitarian he was. So that's interesting to me. So you know, he's a Virgo 11, a Virgo 2. So with the 2, like I said, that's the mutable earth. And with twos, in Virgo, with Virgo 2 is a tendency toward, you know, a little picky and critical for Virgo. He loves to help and is willing to be adaptable to any task at hand. And he has a keen eye for detail. He doesn't miss a beat. Twos don't miss a beat. Virgos are very analytical. So are sevens. So and twos see everything. We analyze everything and critique everything. So this is the way that he carried out his self with his music. He analyzed his performances. He perfected them. He was a perfectionist. So this, you know, that's what that suggests to me. He's imaginative and romantic. He has the ability to solve world peace if he wanted to, which was really what he was on his way to doing.
That's what he was promoting anyway. That's why
Yeah,
he's so known around the world anyway.
right. That's what he's known for around the world. So like I said, the numbers don't lie. So we're seeing this through his numbers. And then like with that Pisces moon, that's a soul of an artist, right? A soul of a dreamer. Very emotional. So his emotions, you know, probably shape his perception. And that's critical for him because that made him go inward at one point. He speaks about it in his memoir, Moonwalk. He speaks about how at one point he was very outward and like extroverted. And then when he started growing up and getting like different acne and different growing through puberty, a normal thing that a normal kid does, he kind of went inward because of the backlash that he would get from the media. So this just shows you that through his numbers as well, you know. And so then we're looking at his and we call this, and I have something you're going to learn some terminology tonight. Again, I told you I was the acronym queen, so you're going to learn some of this terminology. So his and is his astronumeric description, and that's an earth sign with a water number. That makes him pragmatic, grounded, intuitive analyzer. And you know, that's a favorable combination, earth and water. You know, one unlocks the other. And with the earth, anything that Michael plants, he grows it with that water. He nurtures it and it nourishes, and he manifests everything that he puts forward. He manifests it, and that's a tribute to that, and a tribute to his seven, with the law of attraction, which we'll get into that seven later. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to point out, Lloyd, because you and I have sent probably over 100, I think, videos back and forth with each other since
Mm-hmm.
we decided to do this live. And Michael Jackson said that two of his favorite things to do were to climb trees and to have water balloon fights. So how fitting is that for Earth sign water number?
Yeah, definitely. Water and earth. There's no question. And in
Right.
fact, I think he would write his songs from a tree.
Yes. So that's called the giving tree. And I'll show a picture of that later. But for now, we'll just tell you that he used to climb this tree. He called it the giving tree. And these trees are called trees of majesty. And he would climb this tree. And he said that he wrote songs such as like Heal the World, Black or White, Childhood, excuse me, and Will You Be There? He wrote those songs in that tree, and he's often noted of saying that he didn't write the songs, that they were downloaded to him. Like, he sat there and a tree told him what to write. The tree told him what to write when he was in the tree. So I find that interesting, and I think that really connects to his master number 11, which we're about to get into, because he was not only just a normal two, he does carry the master number 11 because he's born on the 29th of the month, which first reduces to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, when we find that in numerology, we don't mess with that too much. You always want to look at both sides because we're human. So we do, fall down to the two, and we embody the two. The two is the actual individual frequency because it is the base number. But when you see that 11, you have that master number potential. You have the energy to embody, those qualities of the master number. And with that master number 11, that's intuition, imagination, artistic, psychic downloads, a bridge to the spiritual side. Um, so that's what that 11 embodies, and we're going to see that, as we go through this. And, just to say, to the negative, the twos can be moody, critical, they can be shy. They're often very shy. And you can see that he was a very shy person,
Mm-hmm.
and petty, deceptive, cruel, and insincere. So those are some of the negatives, because as we know, not everything's a positive thing. There are negative instances, and we have ebb and flows. The principle of rhythm, everything has its tides up and down. So same thing, no different with our numbers and with our frequency.
All right.
Um, all right, all right. So let's move on a little bit. I want to point out a little bit the health of the two people, and seven people, because that's his frequency. They often have stomach and digestive issues, and then the sevens are often worrying about things that haven't happened yet, and they can have night sweats that lead to skin issues. And I want to point that out because Michael Jackson had vitiligo. I know people want to
Yeah,
say that
people don't
he,
know that. They thought that he
yeah,
bleached his skin, and he
he
tried to
actually did
explain it.
have it. Yes,
Yes,
he had vitiligo, and he struggled with this through years before he started just doing things just to even his skin out. And the media ridiculed him for this. They ridiculed him for this, for actual health disease that he
this
had.
was all the stereotype to kind of put shame on him because he was such a master in the world of business in music. I mean, when
Yes.
you own half of Sony Music, he owned 50%. We're not
Right.
talking about no couple of bucks.
No, this is
You know,
billions of dollars. He
the
was worth
catalog.
billions of dollars.
Yeah, he owned Little Richard's catalog. In fact, he gave Little Richard his catalog. He gave it
Yes,
to
he
him.
did.
You know,
He gave Little Richard his catalog back. He gave SWV, to Human Nature, um, sample for free, and Nas used the sample. Um, as long as he promised not to curse, he allowed Nas to use a sample.
yeah.
So it's interesting. This is who he was. He was a great person. So this is really a testament to who Michael was, an embodiment to who he was. So let's move on a little bit. So let's look at his personal universal code. His personal universal code is the 2, 7, 5, and 11. And that makes his key days the Monday, Wednesday, and I gave him that Sunday for his 11, because 11's ruled by Leo. So Sundays are a great day for him, and he loves Sundays. He used to fast every Sunday and listen to classical music while he slept all the time. And then he would dance on Sunday. So fasting and only drinking juice and dancing was his ritual on Sundays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he made
Yeah.
mention of that.
He made mention of that. So, I want to kind of like hone in a little bit too on his two, because I think that the frequency of him having a two and the seven, and also that master number 11. I know most people don't know this, but Michael actually had four master numbers. And I don't know, Lloyd, you've been doing this a lot longer than me. I don't know anybody else that has four master numbers in their
It is very
numerology.
rare to
Yes.
have it in his first name and his last name, just for starters. And
Yes.
he
And
was
then it's in
born
his
on the
birthday.
29th of 11 in his birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, as we know, the individual frequency, because when you see this if right here, that's just his birth number. These are numeric terms, the and the if. And this is all for if you know your keys and your ops, then you can get through any obstacle that you're facing. So I hope you guys caught that. This is the and the if, and these are your keys. And then we also have ops that we can use on this chart. And if you have, if you know those things, you can kind of master anything and you can kind of get through your life better. And that's why we do this. That's why we study this, because it's a guide. It guides us in the spiritual realm. But let's get back to the two, connected with the seven. Those are the moon numbers. And the two, is ruled by the full moon, and the seven's ruled by the moon, the new moon, and co-ruled by Neptune. So as we may know, Neptune and the moon both have rulership over water. They co-rule the fluids in the body. And we know our bodies are made up of 70% water, right? And that being said, I heard somewhere that somebody that works with water, that our eyes are 99% water. So if you think about that, if our eyes are 99% water, imagine why these people would fall out. These people would fall out with just Michael Jackson just standing there. Like, they would fall out. He didn't even have to say anything. He would just stand there like this, and people would be like fainting, and
Yeah.
ambulance
Yeah.
had to be on site.
Such
Yeah,
was the magnetism. But you know
it's the
what's interesting?
magnetism.
The majority of the world is covered by water anyway.
Right. Right. So that, I feel like I attribute that to how his effect was on people. He embodied that frequency. He has four master numbers, and the four master numbers that he embodies is the master visionary, it's the master builder, it's the master teacher, and the master healer. And so he has these numbers, and really it's a tribute to what my teacher taught me. It's not all about your numbers, it's about your environment too. It's about your environment, how you're nurtured, how you grow up. And we know he had a tough time with his dad and all that, but his mom was very nurturing. He got along mostly with all his family members. It was a very nurturing, it was a family setting. So he had discipline, he had structure. We can say what we want about Joe and how he raised them. That's their business. But he had discipline, he had structure, he had love. He went to school. He finished school. They made sure that even when he signed with Motown at 11 years old, he moved to California and was living with Diana Ross and Berry Gordy back and forth. They were splitting, living there, and it was a family structured. So he still was raised up in a family, and he was also raised up in a time and an era where people had respect for people, especially Black Americans. Our families are big on that. Make sure you're respecting people when you walk
Mhm.
out, because we could be killed for disrespecting somebody when we walked
Mhm.
out the door back then. you know and so that this just is really a testament to Michael and who he is, and how his effect on people were.
Well, let me add another little bit to it today,
Yes.
because today happens to be the 11th day of the month, which is a master number. And today, December of 2024, happens to be a master number 11 universal month. So when you add 11 on top of 11, you got 22 as far as I see today. And it's a full
Right.
universal day. So
And that's why
continue.
we chose to do this. Yeah, because that's why we chose to do this on this day, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So so it's just great. It just really speaks to who Michael Jackson was. And so let's get through the rest of this data, and then I'm going to give you guys the stuff that you guys need to track for us, because I know our time, we're almost halfway through. So let's get through this. So his key months, as we see: May, June, July, September, October. Key years, I won't read them, but you see them there. You're going to hear these key years as we go through. And then his personal year factor is a 37 dash, obviously, 1 is what that breaks down to. So what that really means is that through his personal cycle, he's always 1 year ahead of the universal cycle. So I really call that like a trailblazer cycle. They kind of often may feel like they're out of sync with the world, because when the world's in, they're out for the most part. But it's really a chance for them to use a lot of the different energies together to create and to be a trailblazer and be the first to do things. So often
Mhm.
with these personal year factor ones, you'll see that they're like the first to do this, they're the first to do that, they're like trailblazing through their cycle. So that, and then also about that magnetism, Lloyd, he's a life path 6, right? So with the life path 6, they're magnetic, right?
Mhm.
They're here to learn magnetism, duty, responsibility to home and family, community, to balance, to harmonize. He embodies that energy. He embodies that energy. So, and then when we look at it, his key, which is just his first name, and we will look at that in the Pythagorean system, that adds up to a 33. in which obviously the base number is a 6. So his, that's interesting too. That is key and
Yeah.
his last are the same. So we'll get into that a little bit later. And then in Chaldean, his first name is a 22 and his last name is a 22, and that adds up to a 44. So that's what we have for his numeralytics. So let me get this up so I can make sure that the family has the numbers. So right now, I want you guys to write these numbers down right here that you see on the screen. So right here, we need the personal year factor. So we just need the 1. You just can use the base number for these first ones. But obviously, we want to capture the master number energy too as we go through. So the personal year factor 1, we need the individual frequency 2. His first name in Chaldean is a 4. His personal universal code, a part of his personal universal code is a 5 because he's born in the negative period of the 5 as that
Mm-hmm.
Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then his life path is a 6. We need that number tracked. We need the personal universal code 7. That's his other moon number. We need his full name, which adds up to an 8. That's his expression. We need that to be tracked. His big business capabilities running through the industry and taking them by storm. And then we need to track these master numbers. So the rules with the master number tracking, you're going to track the master number, but you're also going to track the base number. So if you see an 11, you have to also track the 2. Okay. If you see a 22, you have to track the 4. If you see the 33, you have to track the 6. And if you see the 44, you have to track the 8. So those 4 master numbers get 2 tracks. Okay.
All righty, here
And
we
then
go.
here we go. And this is how it looks right now. But at the end, and I'm going to like probably in about 15 minutes, I'll do a check-in. I'm going to run through it quick and we're going to do a check-in. And I need you guys to really track this so you can give me the check-in so we can make sure we're doing this right. And we want to see how these numbers and which numbers affect him the most. Okay. So this is his numeralytic occurrence. Okay. So we're going to take a look at that when we get into that. So let me get to the next slide. And then here we go. We're going to get into this with Michael Jackson. We're breaking down his name. So when I go through this, we're just going to go ahead and track the numbers, guys. And we're just going to read through it real quick. And then we're going to get through to his timeline so we can really get into what's going on with his timeline. Okay. So Michael, his first name has 7 letters. That's a 7. That's a number. So that's track the 7. That's a 1 for the 7. And then also it adds up to the 33, 6. So we want to track the 33 and the 6 right now. The Joseph has 6 letters. That's a 6. The Jackson has 7 letters. That's a 7. The Jackson also adds up to a 19-1. So you can track the 1 there. And also we want to look at that. The Jackson family was a family of leaders, of trailblazers. Usually those 1 families are pioneers and trailblazers. Also they had that 4, so we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so this one denotes that about the Jackson family, and that 19 is a favorable number in the compound numerology, which we won't go into because we don't have a lot of time. So we just really we're tracking the numeralytics, we're looking at the pattern, and we're going to get the number so we can see what affected him the most at the end. Okay, and then we want to give him the 8 for his whole name. And then we're also going to give him a 7 right here for his Michael Jackson. And then Michael Jackson has 12 youthful numbers in his name, Lloyd. And you know what that means. That means that younger people are attracted to him. He's attracted to younger people. When he was younger, older people were attracted to him because of his 8. And when he got older, younger people were attracted to him because of all those youthful numbers that he's got running through his name. So this is a very innocent thing, coupled with the way he grew up with not having a real childhood. He would never hurt a child. So these are the things that we want to bring out and make sure that we're like really giving that justice and making sure that we know that our family didn't do this to any kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
all those people were even proven to be lying anyway. So on top of that,
Yeah.
so moving right along. So just looking at his name, we'll just do a small breakdown to tell you he's got a lot of 1s and 3s in his name, which tells us he's very ambitious, self-expressive. He's got a pioneer spirit, and he has that ambition to rise to the top. If anything,
Which
he
he
does.
did very well.
Yeah,
Which
he
he
wants to
did
make a
very
good
well.
name for himself. He's
Yeah.
career orientated, and he's conscientious about it. Not only that, with those 3s, 3s are very conscientious about their work and what they do. So we wanted to point
And it's
that out.
interesting, he has 20 letters in Michael Joseph Jackson.
Yes. So that's one of the other things. It's 20 letters. Yep. Yep. So there's our 20 letters right here. That it's got 20 letters. So let's get on to the next one. So family, I hope y'all just kept score of that. Family, I hope y'all, I can't see what's going on, but I hope the family kept score of that right now. Um, and then let's get on to the next one so we can keep counting this, okay? So we're just gonna really look real quick. To because I think this part really explains who he is, and I think this will help us to kind of understand, why he was the way he was with kids and how he is. His motivation number, which is like his inner desires, is a 33. So family track that. That's a 33, and the 6 has to also be tracked there. Now that frequency tells me that he is the cosmic parent, the cosmic guardian. Magnetism, he's got domesticated roots, responsibility, steadfast love. Michael's a refuge. He's an asylum for those in need and comfort and shelter. That's that frequency. That's not me saying that. That's what that frequency entails. When that's your motivation. They love ease, beauty, and comfort, music, harmony. So we see all this come through in him and how he is. Now to the negative, because everything does have a negative, that they could be obstinate, dogmatic, or stubborn, or irresponsible. And we've seen some of that too through his life. So, like I said, a lot of this is tall orders, but we see both of it, but we really see more of the positive with him. And that's a testament to his family unit, to his spread first. Well, to his family unit first, and then his spread. He's built into this spread, and that family unit nurtured this. It nurtured this person, this human being, into this great, greatness, and not accepting anything less than that. So, and then we want to look at his personality. That's a 20. Another number 2, that's protection, loved, comforted, surrounded by those you care for. You want to see the home and children as an atmosphere of peace and harmony. They're gentle, romantic, artistic, good listeners. And again, we talked about the negative of the 2, the pettiness, the shyness, that, could be insincere, moody. But these are a testament. And then just to point out, his motivation is the exact same number as his life path. And what that speaks to is his desires and his opportunities. And when they're similar, they're harmonious, that means you're going to really have an easygoing life kind of vibe. You're going to be able to do the things you want to do. You have the chance to do the things you want to do. And you're going to have a fulfilling, path to get to the life path and learn those things that you need to learn, or to be laid out for you.
And
And
let
then
me
when we look at, go ahead, Lloyd.
I just wanted to add motivation for those who may not be familiar with it in numerology means all the vowels of A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. So if you see them in light green or blue, call it what you will, that's because
Mm-hmm.
they're all the vowels. That means inwardly how they're thinking, inwardly how they're feeling, and it's reflected through their actions. So the other letters are what are called the consonants. That's the personality, etc. Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you so much, master teacher. I love it. And then as we can see, that middle name Joseph, those vowels add up to 11. So we didn't reduce them, but obviously that's a 2. But that's funny, because you see that middle name has that master number energy too.
Yeah.
And then getting on to his expression, which is the total of his whole name, which is that 8, like we talked about earlier. The
Hmm.
expression and the life path. So that will speak to his abilities and his opportunity. And these two are congenial, and they're complementary with each other, the 6 and the 8. So what this also means is, since the expression is higher than the life path, this means that he may have some difficulty along his way, but it's none that's insurmountable. And they really say that's the more fortunate one, because it allows room for growth and development without hardships. So you have growth and development, but there's not real hardships for you to jump hurdles. And also, with that expression being higher, that denotes that Michael is a master teacher in this lifetime. It denotes that he won't meet those, he will only meet those below his level, that he is the teacher and the uplifter, and that's his role. And that's what we really have seen of him through his life. So just breaking that down. So make sure, guys, on this slide, we got the 33 and the 6, we have a 2, and we have an 8. So make sure you just track those numbers, and I hope you're keeping track, because in about like 5 minutes, I'm going to ask for a check-in. So we're going to go real quick through this Chaldean breakdown. The only thing we need to track here is the 22 and the 4 for the Michael Jackson, because we already know that it's 7 letters. We just track that. We don't want to double track the 7 letters. So we just have to track track 2 22s and 2 4s, because the first name's 22, the last name's 22. And then that obviously totals 14 letters when it's Michael Jackson by itself without the Joseph. That's also part of his code, the 5. So we need to track a 5 there. And then the Michael Jackson is an 8. And then the youthful numbers here, he is 11 youthful numbers when we look at the Chaldean breakdown. And this also denotes, like you see, his parent might be an Aquarius, Leo, Gemini, or born on the 4th, 13th, 22nd, or 31st of the month, dealing with the Chaldean alphabet when we look at his name. One other thing I want to point out about his name before we move forward is his key here is a 4 in Chaldean, and that's also his cornerstone. And that shows us that Michael's a hard worker. He's dependable. He's visionary. He has secret enemies, and we've seen that. We've seen his relationship with
Big
Prince,
time.
big time with Prince, big time with like Paul McCartney, different people as coming up, and even with the people who sued him and who accused him of these harsh things. Those are secret enemies. People that he thought were his friends and all that kind of stuff. So this is what we see with that 4 energy. It brings secret enemies. It brings jealousy, insecurity from that standpoint. It's also the number of the odd and unusual. So he has odd and unusual relationships. And that's what we see. It might not be with our cup of tea or what we think is normal, but it's normal for him. He didn't have a childhood, so him being around kids, that's normal for him. And when you look at him in some of those videos, he's just a big kid in the room. Like he's just bigger. Yeah, he's the same as them, but I mean, he's smart like a man on a business level, and he's very smart. But like when he gets around those kids, he's the big kid in the room. That's what he is, and it's nothing more. When he looks at those kids like family, he loves children. He gave half of his empire to charity to help kids. He saved kids' lives, giving them, helping them to get transplants, making a burn unit at Mount Sinai in New York, all this kind of stuff that he did with his money. And he did it with no problem. He did it with no problem. And that 4, is also a health cycle number of the odd and unusual, and health and injuries. So that points to Michael having vitiligo, and a lot of people don't know what else. Michael had lupus. So I don't know if the family knew that, but Michael actually had lupus. So, he did all of this stuff in pain sometimes. He went out on these tours, he toured, he hated touring, he said. He said that, affectionately in one of his home videos, because it's a hard on his body. So, we see all this through his numerology. It really shines through. So again, that's it for this slide. Let's go on to the next slide. So we're really keeping score here now, guys. I need a check-in, family. So let me get off this screen. Oh, hold on. Let me go back because I'm going ahead of myself. That's his nicknames, but we're about to get into that in 2 seconds. Family, checking in the family. How many ones do we have, family? How many ones do we have? How many ones do we have so we can update this score? Family, I need how many ones do we have so far? And you know what? So it's time. We're halfway through. We're almost done. It's time for you guys to see the windows to my soul. I'm a little shy because I'm a 2 also.
I like
So
how
I'm a
you
little
put
shy.
that.
So I wanted to wear the glasses. Peace and love, Melrose. I love him. That's my buddy. That's my great Black American friend who is in the
Do
grass.
you know
Leading
Alana?
the church. That is my daughter, my beautiful daughter. I
Yeah,
love
she
you.
says, looking beautiful, very knowledgeable. That's my mom. All right, I
Love you,
like
number
that.
2. I love you, my little number mini, me too.
She's a 2 like you, huh?
Born on the 20th, just like her mama. Peace and love to Miss Kimberly. Peace and love to the family. Peace. Peace to the Napalm Dom Pacino, Killer Army. My killer bees on a swarm. Peace to Bert. That's my follower. I love Bert. He's a friend. He's a supporter. Peace to everybody. Thank you guys. You're showing out tonight. Thank you, family, for the love. I hope you guys are enjoying this. We need an update, family. Hold on. Let me get back to the scoreboard because y'all ain't listening. I don't see no updates in here. And if ain't no updates, I'm going to have to keep score myself. How many ones do we have, guys? Do we have ones? Do we have twos? I'm looking in the comments. Do you guys, is anybody keeping track? Great show. If not, you know what? If they're not keeping track, I'm going to go through it. You family, start keeping track of these numbers. We want to see the graph grow as we go along and see which numbers really affect him. But real quick, I'm going to get off of this because I see the time. And Lloyd, I'm long-winded. So I think it's going
It's all
well,
right.
but
It's all right. It's all
you
right.
know,
Because we have a
we're
lot
gonna
more
get through it.
videos, especially the one where he's in the trees, some other things too that you want to
Yes,
show.
we're gonna do that right now, Lloyd. We're gonna do that right now. So I really want to show this real quick though, because this looks at the family dynamic, and we know the Jacksons were a family thing, a family business. And this is the numeralytics of the family. So as you can see, I've highlighted it in conjunction with Michael's personal year, personal universal code. So here goes Michael right here. He's the 2, 7, 5, and 11, the earth sign water number. Here goes the rest of his family. Now, as you can see, the dad is an 8. That's in direct opposition to Michael's numbers. And Marlon's a 3. And Michael actually talks about in his memoir, not that he didn't get along with Marlon, because they did. They got along great. The whole family did. But if you look at some of the videos when they're performing, Marlon kind of is the one that kind of will step up and do like stuff, and Michael will look at him like, get back there, Marlon, you shouldn't be up here, like get back. Like he'll do little stuff like that with him. It's like a little family banter. And Michael also noted in his memoir that he didn't really look at Marlon as his older brother. He looked at it more as Jermaine as the older brother, because they're so close in age that he just looked at Marlon as they were equals. You know, he didn't look at him as like an older
Yeah, they
brother.
were only born a year apart.
A year
Actually,
apart. So they have that
yeah.
dynamic. Yeah, you see that through their personal universal codes. They have that dynamic. And the rest of the family look at this. So, you know, we were to track this, but this family, look at this. Look at all these numbers. They're all in sync with each other. So this family really got along. They loved each other. They cared for each other. They had their ups and downs, of course, like every family. But in the spotlight, I think they did a hell of a job to continue to keep themselves together, to bring greatness to themselves and to their name. And, you know, Michael obviously brought greatness to everybody.
But you
So let's
notice
get.
the 4 of them were born on the 29th day of the month.
Yeah, and I'm going to show. Let's look at this, because then you can see it better, Lloyd. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. Well, 4 of them on the 29th, and then you have 5 people that have the 2 frequency here. So it's Reby, Jermaine, Latoya, Michael, and Randy.
Mm-hmm.
They all have it. They all have that frequency. And then you got Marlon with the 3, just 1 3, and then the mother, Catherine, and Jackie have the same birthday. They're both May 4th.
Yeah. Yep.
They're
Yep.
both May 4th. And then you got Janet, she's the 7th of May. And then you got Tito, he's October 6th. And then you got the dad, he's a Leo, July 26th. So this is the individual frequency of the Jackson family. So you can see how, you know, how they got along here. You can see how they got along.
And
Hey,
let me just
Sanisha. Hey, lady. How are you, beautiful?
let me add
You
one
and that
thing to
beautiful
it
baby
too.
of yours.
Michael Jackson was also a 7th child. And
Yes,
they've
Lloyd.
been telling you, anytime there is a 7th child in the bunch, they are your standouts. Malcolm X was a 7th child. The guy that founded Kellogg's, the hospital thing, was a 7th child. So I'm saying, for those of you who are listening, if you happen to be a 7th child, there would be something about you that would make you a standout in some way, shape, or form. And so when you say Michael Jackson, they don't say the Jackson 5 anymore. They're just Michael Jackson. Such
Right.
was the stamp that he did on his own. So explain this to us, the first 25 years.
So we're going to look at the first 25 years. So in no way, you know, we just had to do the first 25 on one slide for obviously room purposes. But the way we would really look at this is his cycles. We, you know, all go through 3 cycles in our life cycle. So, you know, the first cycle is denoted by your birth month, and it looks at your formative years, your education, your growing up and stuff like that. Your second cycle goes by your birthday. So that's the 11 to 2. And that starts around your 28th birthday, up through to wherever your first personal year starts. And then your third cycle would start it around your 56th birthday and up. Michael got robbed of his third cycle, Lloyd. He got
What do
robbed
you
of that
mean?
third cycle. He
Oh, in other words,
he
he didn't live to that long. I see what
yes,
you're saying. I got you.
he was murdered at 29. I mean, he was murdered at 50 years old. So
Yes.
he was 6 years shy of
Of
his
reaching
harvest cycle.
his harvest cycle. Got you.
Yeah, he
Got
was 6
you.
years shy of it. And that's unfortunate, you know. So let's get through it real quick. So let's look. So 829, we know Michael was born 829-58, born in Gary, Indiana. He lived on 2300 Jackson Street. That equals a 5. Thank you very much.
Yep, his number.
He's the 7th out of 9 children. And then you see him here with his little cute self. And then in 1963, he made his first public singing appearance. In first grade, he was 5 years old. That's a 5. Thank you very much. First grade, that's a 1. Thank you very much. And he sang "Climb Every Mountain," which when you add that up, that adds up to an 11 in Chaldean. So that would be an 11 too. Thank you very much. So as we see already with the 2 bullet points, Michael is living throughout his frequency, and he's really doing what he was sent here to do, right? So then we look at 1964. That's when the Jackson 5 really got established. Michael was established as the lead singer, and in his memoir, he notes that he was lined up as the second from the right. So that's a number two.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1966, they won a statewide champion when they sang My Girl. And that's really what kind of got them like the local celebrities starting to go. And then they got onto the Apollo in August 13th, 1967. So that this was a huge thing for them. You know, they got onto the Apollo. This is another way that they were really seen. And then when they got back, they signed their first record contract with Steeltown Records, which was a guy that the dad worked with at the Steeltown Mill out there in Gary, Indiana. So they got their record deal. They put a record out with them. It was called Big Boy, 6 letters. Thank you very much. That's a six. And you know, it went well for them. And that's kind of what propelled them with their local celebrity, and it got them really noticed to get signed to get the audition with Motown. And
Mm-hmm.
then we'll go straight to them signing with Motown in 1969, which that's one of his numbers. Um, he and then from 1969 to 1970, they had those four number one hit singles as the Jackson Five, those singles that we love. I Want You Back, ABC, To Love You Save, and I'll Be There, of course, you know, classics. And then in 19, you know, through that time from 1970 up through 1975, really they did so much. They had a variety show named The Jacksons. They had a cartoon that aired for
Yep.
2 years. That's a two.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
They did Ed Sullivan, they did all of these different shows. Dick Clark, everything. They did all of the shows. They
They
did
were on
Sonny and
Sonny and
Cher.
Cher. I
Sonny and
mean,
Cher.
they were everywhere. Everywhere.
Everywhere, everywhere. Phenomenal. Just worldwide stardom really from that point on, right? And then in 1975, you know, there were creative differences and they broke apart from Motown. And that's when they signed with Epic, and they had to change their name to the Jacksons. And I'll tell you this because it's so interesting. We know 28, we were just talking about this earlier, is a divorce number, and you got to watch what you sign and all that with the number 28. Well, Barry Gordy's born on the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Barry Gordy trademarked Jackson 5. So when they left to go to Epic, he wouldn't allow them to take that name. So that's like them having to start all over again, dealing with somebody that's a 28. They didn't watch what they were signing, dealing with that 28 energy. And they kind of got burnt with that, and they had to rename themselves to Jacksons, which don't matter. They're still famous. They're still the Jacksons, but they had to drop Jackson 5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, family. I see people. Please come in with data. Even family, even if we get it at the end, and I'll do it real quick. Please come in with data. I love it. I see Mo blessed. Thank you. Or she's just saying 3 daughters. But if anybody wants to come in with numbers, please bring them in. I know it's a lot, guys. I know this is a lot for you guys to take in. But it's interesting. So let's go on. So in 1978, Michael acting debut, he plays the Scarecrow in The Wiz. Now, what's interesting about this is he states that he watched this, he read this script 6 times before he did this, right? He said he read the script 6 times, so that's a six. And Diana Ross was really the one that was instrumental in getting him that gig with the Wiz. And you know, he had a really odd little bit of a relationship with her, where he calls her his mother, his sister, and his lover. Says she's all three. So they, you know, had their relationship. Nothing that I'm here to judge, but you know, like I said, older people were attracted to him when he was younger. So I mean, that makes sense to me that you know that happens. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So let's keep going. So we talked about the Wiz. Let me see what's the next one. So then in 1978, this is when Michael's kind of doing his breakout. Like he met Quincy Jones when they did the Wiz. And you know, he talked to Quincy. He wanted to have him produce some stuff for him. He wanted them to find him a producer. So, you know, Quincy took it on, you know, he took it on. And that's how we got Off the Wall. They started working together, and Off the Wall is Michael's fifth studio album. So that's a
And it's
five.
interesting because Quincy Jones was born on the 14th, which is a 5.
Which is a five. Yes. Yes. And if you go to our TikTok, we have a video up about Quincy Jones and about you know, his similarities with Michael Jackson with their numerology, because they have a lot of similarities there. So that was like August 10th, 1979. So we can give that a 10, and we can also give that an 8 because 1979 is an 8 year. I know that
Mm-hmm.
because you know I'm pretty familiar with that year. I'll just say that. That's
Mm-hmm.
an 8 year. So you know, I want to point out that that album dropped August 10th, 1979. On November 6th of 1979, which is a 6, also that 11, because November is the 11th month. It was an 8 universal year, and it was a 1 universal month and a 7 universal day. Michael wrote himself a letter while he was out on the Destiny tour with his brothers. And we want to keep in mind that Off the Mall was out, it had dropped, it was out, he wasn't satisfied. He wrote himself a letter to manifest a new identity for himself. And I'm just going to really, 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 real quick read the letter that Michael wrote to himself to transform himself into MJ. And this is a perfect example of manifesting on purpose, something that Miss Kimberly does on her show and teaches people what to do. Michael was a master manifester and he did that on purpose. And for him to write that on a 7 universal day, that tells me that law of attraction is what helped Michael to reach this goal. So this is what he said. MJ will be my new name. No more Michael Jackson. I want a whole new career, a whole new look. I should be totally different person. People should never think of me as a kid who sang ABC. I want you back. I should be a new, incredible actor, singer, dancer that will shock the world. I will do no interviews. I will be magic. I will be a perfectionist, a researcher, a trainer, a master. I will be better than every great actor roped into one. I must have the most incredible training system to dig and dig and dig until I find it. I will study and look back on the whole world of entertainment and perfect it. Take it steps further than where the greatest left it off. Can you imagine writing that at that tender age of like 20?
And then making it a reality too.
Right.
That's the
Making it a
point.
reality. That's
To
the
make
point.
it a reality is like really, really amazing, which shows what you can plant in your mind if you can believe it. And he
That's right.
believed it to the nth degree.
That's right. If you can believe it, then you can see it and you can do it. And that's what he did. And he really, used the energy that he has that embodies his numbers to do so. So then let's look at Thriller, guys, because this is when I met Michael Jackson. I met him in a Thriller era. I met him when he did the Billie Jean special. That's when I really, really met him. I mean, I heard songs like around the house and stuff. I didn't really know who he was. I was too young. But when he did that Billie Jean special, that's when I met Michael Jackson. That's why Billie Jean, that's why you see me dressed like this. That's so special to me. But he dropped Thriller in November on November 29th. That's his day, 29. And that was in 1982. That was a 2 year. That's a key year for him. Michael was 24 years old at the time. I believe that's a 6. Thriller drops. Thriller is a 25/7. It adds up to that in the Chaldean system. It has 8 letters. That's an 8. It was the world's best-selling album of all time to this day. And this is a testament. This is a testament. He dropped it. It was a 2 universal day, a 4 universal month, and a 6. It was a 2 universal year, a 4 universal month, and a 6 universal day when he dropped Thriller. So that tells you right there the energy that this came with. With 32 million copies sold, it became the best-selling album of all time. Quincy Jones, he's got 11 letters in his name. We talked a little bit about his correlation with Quincy Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then let's look at real quick because what happened the following year after he dropped Thriller, he was trying to get the video, on MTV, and they weren't trying to let him come on there because they said black artists didn't have, a space on there to have music like that. Like at the time, there were very few black artists that were being played on MTV at that time, back in 1983.
Actually, there were
Mike
none. He was
There
the
were
first.
none. Well, there were like 1 or 2, but they were it was, I forget who they said it was, but it was like maybe 1 or 2, but they were very far and few between. It was not like any type of music that was our music. It was like more of like a rock music that those people were doing. Through the research that I did, but I say that to say there were barely none. Like you said, there were barely none, and they didn't even want to put his on there because of the music that it was. They didn't want to put him on there. So, he broke that barrier. The people who backed him and all that kind of helped him through that. They helped him break that barrier. They threatened to take all of their artists off if Billie Jean video didn't get aired. And on March 10th, that's a 10, that's a 1. Billie Jean video, it breaks the MTV color line. This is trailblazing material. This is Michael being that moon. This is him putting light in places that would further be dark. If he didn't do that, Black Americans still might not, or Black melanated people, period, still might not be on MTV. They still might not be doing that. So we don't know. So the stuff that he did was trailblazing. It was face forward, and he broke those records. And this is why we chose him. He's greatness, and he exhibits it through his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that year, 1983, he debuted the Thriller video, which was a 14-minute video. And again, I believe that's a 5. So that's a 14-minute video. So that's a 5.
Do
So
you know
then here
that's one
goes.
of the most songs played every Halloween now is Thriller?
Yes, it is. It's the most. Yep, it is. It's the most
To
song
this
played
day. Yeah.
to this day. And then another tidbit about Billie Jean: on June 10th, 2021, which was not that long ago, it became the first 1980s clip by a solo artist to reach 1 billion views on YouTube. So he's breaking records to this day. I mean, he's not even alive and he's breaking records to this day. Billie Jean sold over 66 million copies to date. So this is Michael Jackson. This is who he is, shedding light to the world, healing the world, through his presence, through his music, through his brilliance, through his genius. And I just really want people to know that and see that. And that's why I chose him. So I hope everything's going well. Lloyd, you let me know how we're looking on time. And
Well, we're a little over time, but I want you to get to the rest of the videos so people can see them,
okay.
especially with
So
him
I'm gonna run
in
through
that
this quick.
screen.
I'm going to run through this quick, and then I'm going to show the pictures because that's all we have left anyway. Okay.
Okay.
Because I know you guys want to see these pictures because they're
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I
They're put
do.
together.
I want to see
Yeah.
him. You work
Lloyd
hard
wants
to
to see
do
them.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just run through this. So January 27th, 1984, that was a 4 universal year. That's when his scalp got burned during the Pepsi commercial. And we see that happened on a 9-day. So that rules
It's his
accidents with
stress
fire.
number.
Yeah, a stress number, and it rules accidents and entries through fire and explosives. And this is what happened to him on that day. So this is just a reminder to the family that when you see these numbers pop up, take it easy, family. And then the following year, 3/7, 1985, that's a 7. He dropped "We Are the World." That was also a 7 universal year. Okay, and then we're looking here when "We Are the World" is released. That became the fastest selling U.S. pop single in history, and it went certified quadruple platinum. And this is how he bought the Beatles catalog. So he used the money so all this that he did through all his life, after this "We Are the World" dropped later that year is when he bought that Beatles catalog. So this was what propelled him to do that, right?
For $47 million at the
For
time. So,
$47 million. I
yeah.
believe that's 11 too,
Yep,
right?
it is. It's exactly
Yep.
right.
And then he was diagnosed officially with his doctor in private with the vitiligo on March 19th of 86 and the lupus. And that didn't become public knowledge until 1993.
Mm-hmm.
But this is when he was diagnosed with it. And then the following year, he dropped "Bad." It was his 7th studio album, over 30 million copies sold, purchased Neverland later this year. Okay. Neverland, by the way, opposition, it adds up to an opposition number to him. Um, then later that following year in 1991, that's when he signed his deal with Sony. It was worth $65 million altogether. I believe that 1991, that's a 2 universal year. So that's a key year for him. And then he dropped the Dangerous album later that year. And then and then he dropped the Moonwalker movie and the Moonwalker biography that year too, in 1988. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did his interview with Oprah. That's that year that he did that great Super Bowl performance in 1993, where he like jumped up off the stage and he came up from the bottom, and he had that big Super Bowl performance that year. That was 1993.
1993 was a 22.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a 22. Yeah. Yep. So that's his master number with his
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And then that was also the year that his first allegations were filed. So we see that odd and unusual freak type of
Well,
stuff
by that
going on.
time, he had owned half of Sony, had purchased the Beatles
Yeah.
catalog. And what a lot of people don't know, when they would put the scandal, Eminem began to do a video of him. And so what he said was, okay, I'll buy Eminem's catalog. So he
Right.
owned Eminem's catalog. So he had a way of kind of like, shall we say, getting back, so to speak.
And yes, that's a tribute, Lloyd, to his Virgo and to his 2 energy. 2s are very petty. They can be very petty when they're brought to that level. And that's the type of stuff we'll do. And with that Virgo energy and that earth energy, he's steadfast. He didn't do nothing right
And he
away.
had the money to
He
do it too.
waited. Yeah, he waited and then he pounced. You know what I mean? He analyzed it. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna get him." And this is how he dealt with it. And it's in a non-confrontational way because he's
Yeah,
non-confrontational, right?
yeah,
So he
yeah.
didn't say nothing to him. He didn't do nothing. He just went on, did what he did like a boss. That's what a boss does.
And as he
That's
said
what a
in
boss does.
one of his songs, he's a lover, not a fighter.
Not a fighter. That's he said that in that Paul McCartney song.
Yep, yep,
The girl
yep,
is
yep.
mine. All right, so let's look at the pictures, Lloyd. So this is Michael when he was a baby. That's his autograph. Okay, so I just want to show
He
the
was an
family some
artist too,
pictures.
you know. A lot of people don't know he did art.
Yeah, he did art. He loved
He's
art.
an artist.
Here I'll show an art that he draw in his book real quick. Real quick, it's right in the first page. He
And by
did
the way,
this.
for people, if you look at the image on the right side of the screen,
Can you
where
guys
it
see
says
that?
name Michael Jackson fans 4.8 billion. What I ho, really? That's nice.
He drew this. Let me see if I can get it to.
Okay.
He drew that, but I think the family was able to see it. He drew that. That's in his book. That's the first page in his book when you open it in
Yeah.
the Moonwalk book.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know he was an artist as
He
well.
was an artist. He did everything great. He was a genius at everything. Art, music. He was a human beatbox. He beatboxed the beat to Billie Jean and he beatboxed it to the people that play the instruments in the band until they got it right.
And by
So
the
this
way,
is
the wolf sound in Thriller was Michael
yeah,
Jackson's voice.
that was Michael Jackson's voice. They wanted
Yeah.
the dog to do it, but the dog
The
wouldn't
dog wouldn't
perform.
do it. So
Dog
Michael
wouldn't
Jackson
perform.
did it himself. Now,
Yep.
this one, before we move to the next picture, this image, I don't know what part of the world it is. Look at how many people were there. And in fact, from the actual video, they scanned all the way back. It was crowded. And they
Yeah,
said
it
that
went further
groups,
back.
yeah, they said that performing artists would not give a performance when Michael Jackson was on tour. They wanted to know what date he was on tour so they wouldn't do their date on his tour because they know they wouldn't get no traffic.
Right. They know they wouldn't get no traffic. And they who's gonna go up against the king of pop? Nobody.
Nobody. Yep. Yep.
Right.
So what else we
And
got?
then
Oh,
this is his first when he did the Climb Every Mountain. So this is his first performance. And he actually had a flyer for it. And this was a school. You can see Climb Every Mountain from The Sound of Music. And you see his name there, Michael Jackson, and that's his picture in the program. So I thought that was cool to show the family.
yep. Yep.
So this is what I wanted you guys to tell me. What era did you meet him in? So you guys can kind of put in the chat like what song or what era that you met Michael Jackson because he's so generational. We all met him at a different time. And then this just looks at some of his number ones and some of the first that he did. I won't read them all, but just to show you, like it's a whole block, and there's even more than this. This is just the
Yeah.
tip of the iceberg. Like youngest artist with a number one hit, best selling album of all time, longest number one studio album, highest grossing tour ever,
Yeah.
number
Yeah.
one hit. It just goes. The list goes on and on with him. It goes on and on with him, and it's not surprising. Looking at his numerical spread, and then here goes him with his brothers. Okay. The
Yeah.
Jackson 5 and the Jacksons. And then here goes him with his brothers and the whole family. I think that was one of the tours they were doing a press conference for.
Yep.
And then here goes mommy and daddy, Catherine and Joe, with their beautiful family. They're the beautiful family. Beautiful. Beautiful. All of them. Beautiful Black Americans. Beautiful people.
Yep.
Inside and out. Even Joe. Even Joe had his moments. I mean, he was, he was an 8. He was an 8. He was a Leo 8. He
He
was
was a
tough. He was
Leo
a
8.
boxer. Yeah, he was a Leo 8. He was a boxer. I mean, he's a tough man. I mean, and he those 8s don't play around. Like you got to be on point. You got to be disciplined. The family bit if it's a family business, you better be on point and you better do it right because this is a legacy we're leaving here. And that's that energy that 8 gives. So, I'm happy about that. And then here goes the family at another tour. There goes Michael right here next to Latoya. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then let's get on with this. Where is this little thing at? There we go. Here goes his tree. So this is him and his giving tree. This is the tree. You see, it's got like these little steps here.
I was gonna say you could see the steps as he the
Yeah,
climbed up there,
as
lead
he
up.
climbed up. And like I said, he wrote, "Heal the world in this tree. Will you be there, black or white in childhood?" He said the tree wrote the songs. So I believe him.
Well, for those who understand nature, hugging a tree and being grounded, taking your shoes off, you really connect with Mother Nature. You really do.
You do. And his earth sign really it helped with that. And also having that 11 master number, he's getting those spiritual downloads. So it all makes sense. It all makes sense when you look at it. Um, so then let's go on to the next one. I think we're almost done. This is just some pictures of him with I like his tire. He always had on like military attire because he was going to war for the people. And he'll tell
Yeah,
you that,
yeah.
he wants to relieve the people of their stress and go to war for them and take the fight for them and all that. He talks about that. Here goes Billie Jean, when he did Billie Jean. So some action live action
Yeah, that
photos
was
of
on the
his.
25th of the month, a 7.
Yes, yes, sir, on the 7th day. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And it had 47 million viewers.
Hmm.
47 million viewers. That's an 11. And then here goes Thriller. Some of his live action from Thriller. Okay. And then this is an image of him, but this little one over here is an AI that I made.
Really?
I was trying to get my AI skills up. Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
thought
I
it was
think you
pretty
did
good.
a very good job. I think you
Thank
did
you,
a
Lloyd. Thank
very,
you.
very good job. Okay. Oh, and this one here, Smooth Criminal. This is like
Yes.
Monster
So
Jam.
I love this because I actually did a live, family. So I want you guys to go check my channel out, Teller BTV. I actually did a live a couple months ago on the Master Number 11 inventions. And he's a Master Number 11 and he invented something. So
Yeah, in fact,
go
I was
check.
gonna say he
Yeah.
invented these shoes where it would
The
lock in,
anti-gravity.
where he could lean over.
Yes.
He did a genius, a real
Genius.
genius. I don't care what
So they're
nobody.
anti-gravity shoes. And he had a couple co-patenters with him. But he did this for this video because he'll tell you he's always trying to trailblaze. He don't want to be like nobody else. He's always trying to do something new. He would go sit by himself to go think of new ideas, new things that no one ever done. He would go do that. And this is how he comes up with this stuff. He's a genius. This is how he does it. So
Well, all I can
let's
say
go
is
on.
the man was like, hold on, see,
Yeah. So this one, Lloyd, I wanted to share because with the Smooth Criminal video, I thought it was interesting that he actually got that Annie, are you okay from the CPR doll. The doll that we do the CPR training on.
yeah, yeah,
They
yes,
call that doll Annie, and that doll was sitting there, and Michael was like, "What is that?" Like he asked about it, and they told him, that doll's name is Annie. And what do you go do when you're training for CPR? They say, "Annie, are you okay?" They ask Annie, "Is she okay?"
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's how he got that line for the song because the CPR does. So
yeah.
that's
Annie, are you
genius.
okay? Are you
Are you
okay? Yep,
okay? Are you
yep,
okay,
yep,
Annie?
yep.
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? You've been struck by a smooth criminal. But sorry. All right. I'm moving on. I digress. I'm going to digress here. Here goes bad. Bad. Okay. So you can see that was a big production, and he wanted Prince to be a part of this, but Prince wouldn't do it. Prince didn't like the lyrics or whatever, saying who's going to
Yeah,
sing whose butt is mine to who. Prince is
yeah, yeah,
quoted by
yeah,
saying that. So that's that
yeah.
secret enemy stuff. That's that secret enemy of the four. They're visionaries, so people be hating on them. People be hating on them for us. All right. Here we go. Remember the time, baby. All black cast, melanation here. Melanation right here. All black cast. Steven Spielberg wouldn't do the video because he didn't want it to be portrayed that way of ancient Egypt. They wanted to portray it the way that they like to portray ancient Egypt. But Michael did the right thing by portraying ancient Egypt the way ancient Egypt was.
Was
By
people of
showing
color?
the people,
So we say
yeah, the
people of
people,
color. Okay.
yeah, yeah, the
So,
melanated people. So he did that thing, and then this John Singleton is in the picture. He ended up stepping up to direct it when he heard, how Spielberg was acting about it. He's like, "I'll come direct it for you, Michael." And
and
then
then John Singleton went on to do Spider-Man.
yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah, yeah.
Empress Rel, I know, because I got a 4 in my energy too, and honey, please, it's insurmountable to hate that Forrest get. Trust me. I know what you're talking about, Queen. I know what you're talking about. So okay, let's get on. And also, Lord, I got four fours in my name. So not only do I got the 4 in my personal universal code, I got 4 fours in my name. So I really be getting hated on, Lloyd. It's crazy, but it's okay. I
Share what you
spread
want to know.
love.
What you gonna
I
do?
spread
What you
love
gonna
because that's
do?
what twos do.
What you
I don't
gonna
let nobody dictate how I
do? Yeah,
treat
yeah.
people.
Now, in
So
fact,
anyway,
yes, go right ahead.
go
In
ahead.
fact, I need to put your banner up too so people know
Mhm.
how in the world to
Yeah,
get in touch with you, Queen B.
there you go. So you can get in touch with me, guys. You can email me at info@iamtellerb.com. You can contact me on my moon line. You see all those moon numbers. I am a moon baby. So my moon line is 302-492-7722. You can contact, please text me first. I am a seven. I have a seven and I have a lot of fours in my name. So I don't like people just calling me. Like text me, let me know, and then we could talk, and then I'll say a time we can talk.
Yep.
And then my IG is at Teller B Media. Also at Numeralytics is another my Astro Numeric IG. You guys can follow me there. I put up a lot of videos, about different people and their astronumerology.
I
So
like how
real
you apply
fun.
the AI technique to it,
Yeah. I
videos.
love AI, so it's the forward thing that we have to start. Black Americans, we can be on the cutting edge of things. There's things coming up. We got to start learning these things. So go learn your AI programs, get with Portia, learn your crypto, start learning all this stuff going in, to the new era family. Because I'm gonna tell you something, I'm a cultural preservationist. I do this on my show. I do this for real in real life. I've been doing BTV for over 10 years. It's no joke. I've been doing this over 10 years for BTV. Melrose is in the building. He knows. That's a grassroots brother. We're on the grassroots. And let me tell you, family, the world is evolving. If we don't evolve with it, we're gonna get left behind. Next year is
I see on that
2025.
one.
It's a 9 universal year, 9 rules machines. Nine's going to be a big year for AI next year. Family, learn the programs, learn how to fix AI, learn how to engineer to fix it when things go wrong. Learn something with it because that's the new wave. The smart cities come 5 years after 2025 and 2030. We must be prepared for the smart cities. We cannot be left behind. That's why we got cultural preservation, cultural centric practices and principles. Come learn them with me, and we can rise above all of this and make sure that we're taking care of the future for our babies. So that's what that is. And then let me get through this. I think this is it. And I just wanted to show a little thing with Michael then and Michael now. Michael had the only plastic surgery Michael got was on his nose. He never changed jawline. He never did fillers. He never did all that crazy stuff people said he did on his face. His face is the exact same, it's just lighter. The man had vitiligo. He went through several years of treatment trying to even his skin out. Didn't work. And this is what he had to do to make it work for him. He's a global superstar. He did what he had to do. He's a genius. We shouldn't be judging people on their appearance. That's not what this is about. We judge
Yeah.
people what's on the inside, not what's on the outside. So the more we start living like that and stop taking the media for everything they say, because the media oftentimes with a man that powerful, especially being a Black American, they're going to tear him down just like they do the rest of them. You can look at people in history, Bill Cosby, some others, others. There's others. There's a lot of others. But Michael was proven innocent. Okay. He was proven innocent in 2005. And that was from a trial, a judge, a jury, and 10 years of FBI investigation. They did not
Yeah,
find
exactly.
one
Find
shred of
nothing.
evidence that he did
Find
something to a
nothing.
child. Find nothing.
Absolutely
So stop believing the hype. Believe your own heart and do your own research. Go down your own rabbit hole. Stop believing what everybody tells you. Here goes Michael at Neverland, a beautiful compound, and he took asylum there. He let sick kids stay there, everything, the whole gamut, anybody that was in need. Here goes Michael when he was talking to Stan Lee about buying Marvel. Another reason that they sabotaged him and brought him down. Because after this, that's when they started with a new set of allegations in 2003.
Yep.
So just a
Yep.
lot of different things. And remember, he played in Men in Black. So that was the other thing up there. And he loved acting. Michael loved acting. He loved movies. He wanted to be Spider-Man. That's why he wanted to buy Marvel. And then here goes your favorite slide, Lloyd. Yeah, Eminem diss Michael Jackson. This is why, I mean, I'm the queen, I don't bang with Eminem, and it's just my preference, but my thing is, you cannot disrespect the king, and you're definitely not going to disrespect the king. Like, so you disrespected him, you put a diss album out on him, and he got you back in the true Virgo #2 fashion.
Yes, he
He
did. He
steadfast
owned his
he
catalog.
steadfastly waited. Nah, because he waited. That came out, he waited about a year and a half later. He bought that back catalog. And now every time they play an Eminem song, every time Eminem performed, Michael
It
was
goes
getting
to
that
his
check.
estate. Yeah,
Michael
those are
was
his.
getting that check and it went to the kids. Michael donated it to
Yeah,
charity. That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
good of a man he is.
And what
That's how
happens
good of
is
a
a
man
lot of
he
people
is.
don't know many of his concerts. He donated all of the money to
All
children.
of it. All of
All
it.
of it.
I didn't touch on that.
All
I
of it.
had that up here, but he donated, I think it was the Dangerous. He donated the whole thing to children's and he's
Yeah,
got the Heal the World Foundation. He's got all of this stuff. So, people got to stop hating on my boy. Here go him and his brother. May they both rest in peace. Tito and Michael, may you both rest in peace.
yeah, yeah,
The great Jackson 5 brothers, may they
yeah,
both rest in peace. And then here goes the king. Don't walk, moonwalk. That's coming from the king
yeah, yeah.
and the queen.
Yeah, and Queen Bee. Thank you. Can't leave
Queen
out
Bee.
Queen Bee. You know,
Queen Bee.
let me tell you
And then
this. This go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead, Lloyd. No, go ahead, Lloyd.
No, I want to say this has literally been mind blowing. Literally. And let me put one more thing up there too. So people understand. If you look at this chart here, this is millions, a billion views. Only Michael Jackson has gotten this many billion video views. It beats Adele, it beats Lady Gaga, it beats Drake, and it even beats Beyonce. And Beyonce's got a reputation that won't quit.
Right.
Nobody surpasses this man. And in fact, I would say, to be very honest with you, um, he is not to be compared. You cannot compare him to anyone. He is a standout alone, all by himself. So I
Yep.
just want
All
people
by
to
himself.
understand that this
Hmm.
is. So we wanted to give this acknowledgement, but then we got to give an acknowledgement to you, Queen B,
Thank
because you
you.
are having a. Can you explain this to you, please?
Yes. So this is our keys chart. You guys saw it with Michael earlier. We're having a sale. So if you want to get a keys chart, it comes with the chart. You can print the chart. It's downloadable, printable. You can blow it up and make it a poster in your office or whatever you want to do with it. And we can customize the chart. So what your you'll get the basics because it's a general reading. So you'll get this basic thing that you see on the screen. And if you want to customize to get anything else, or if you're looking for anything else, you're interested in something that you want astronumerology to help guide you with, you can let me know that when you contact me, and we can make that for you. And then we can also go that route. But this is what the general one is. It's 11% off. Just email me and put it in the subject line, the LWL family keys, the fam keys, live with Lloyd fam keys. If you put that in the subject line up until December 29th, you see how I did that with that 11-day there. Um, and the sales running for 2 weeks. Obviously, these numbers are in honor of Michael Jackson. So those sales run for 2 weeks, and you get 11% off if you email me with.
Also, you have your merchandise too, BTV
Yes.
clothing.
Yes, so this is the Be Smart clothing. This clothing is powerful messages, uplifting messages to uplift the family and remind each other that we are a family, that we need to show peace, love, and happiness. We need to respect, uplift, love, and empower and support. We do queens up and kings up. That's a term of endearment. That's to let everybody know that the queens and the kings need to understand their power and rise up and stay up and set the bar.
Whoops, whoops, whoops. Where did she go? Oh boy, I made an error. Um, I thought I was doing one thing. Let me see. Can you get back? So let me see if she can get back so she can have a final word on this. Oh boy, how did I do that? I know Mercury's retrograde, but still no excuse. Um, Hold on. Let me see one thing. Alrighty. Okay. Let me do this. Log back on, please. Well, anyway, well, until she logs back on, let me tell you that the today's show has been sponsored by um, Nicholas Brooklyn. They're having a special event this weekend on this Saturday. They're having two events here from 2 to 5 p.m. and from um, later in the evening from 5 to 8 p.m. They're having this distinguished brother here too. Good. There she is. She's back.
Hey,
Um,
did
Hold
I
it.
get
No, 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 no.
Dave
My
Chappelle?
bad.
Wrap
My
that up. Wrap
bad. My
that up,
bad.
D.
That was on
It's
me. That was
okay.
on me. I pushed the wrong button. I said, "Oops."
No, 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 no. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I really wanted to finish off. So, let me just real quick about the BTV clothing. It's 11% off. I think the code was numbers 11. If you go to the website, you can just go ahead and see what the code is on the top. And really, it's just to empower people. We have a Numeralytics hoodie, and this is our Justice on Earth shirts and our merch. And everything you see up here, you can get like a pillow, a necklace, a mug, a tote, a shirt, a sweatshirt, or a long sleeve shirt or a t-shirt. And the Justice on Earth, you heard me talk about that earlier. That's the Black American Lead to Justice. So these are all original designs that I came up with and made, and slogans and sayings and all that kind of stuff. This is all BTV originals. So please support me, family. It's just to uplift us and remind us who we are. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And yeah, that's it for that one. Thank you so
Well,
much, Lloyd, for
Queen
pulling
B,
me
I
back
want to
on.
thank you very, very much. This was been informative, and I hope those who may have taken Michael Jackson lightly, if you understood the power. We lived in a time where you don't get too many people coming like this. And by the way, for more details about Michael Jackson, you can see it in the book. This
Yes,
is my last book, Lloyd's Book of Numbers, a numerology guide for the 21st century and beyond. On page, by the way, 272, which is an 11.
which is an
That's where
11.
it starts at. Yeah, yeah.
And Lloyd,
So
if you don't mind, when we go to end this, if you could put me up on the screen, I'm just going to read a short poem, and then you can cut it off when you get ready.
okay, yeah, let me put you on the screen and then let me give acknowledgement to my sponsors. So I'm going
Okay,
to switch it over to you.
thank you. All right, guys. I want to share this with you. I love music. I think people know that about me. And just doing this research, it really made me channel Michael Jackson. So I just thought I would write this poem, and I'm going to put the glasses back on, and I'm going to put the glove back on. I'm going to read it, and it's going to be quick. Dear humanity in this world, I know it gets lonely at times, dangerous. It seems as if they don't really care about us. It can get so bad we find ourselves with a thriller on our hands. We have got to remember to beat it and don't stop till you get enough of love and compassion. Remember, if we want to be starting something great, we need to heal the world and make it a better place for each black or white, for every single race and every single face. Know that you are not alone, and together we can make change. Let's shake your body down to the ground with kindness and love, and take a look at the man in the mirror to inspire change within ourselves. That's where it starts. It's up to us to remember the time when things were simpler and use our creative energy in harmony. Because after all, we are the world. Each of us has a powerful voice and a chance to make a difference. We have got to be there for one another while casting out negativity. She's out of my life. You can feel it, can't you? The butterflies, as we continue to the earth song of unity and peace. We have got to keep the faith. Sometimes that means we cry, sometimes that means we scream. I want you back every time, as long as you're not a tabloid junkie or acting like Billie Jean. Instead, spread human nature and let the love you save be your guiding force to keep the faith and nurture hope. For together, we can achieve more than you might ever have believed possible. It will be as easy as ABC and 1, 2, 3. We will leave them speechless. We have the magic of the moonwalk, and with every step forward, we can make a smooth criminal turn toward a brighter future. So, in this off the wall world, allow others to rock with you and create a legacy of love and understanding. After all, in the end, it's all about the way you make me feel. And with moonlit dreams and hopes of a better tomorrow, and remembering whenever that you need me, I'll be there. Peace, love, royalty rules, queens up, kings up. Set the bar, family. Peace.
We got to get your autograph, girl. Every song was heard in that poem. You took every Michael Jackson would have been very, very proud of you, the way you weave that together to tell that kind of
Thank
tale
you.
using all of the titles of his best-selling records of all time.
Thank
Nobody's ever
you.
matched him. And I got to be honest, I don't think nobody will ever
They
match him.
won't, Lloyd. They won't. They can't. It's
It's,
impossible.
it's just an extraordinary
Like he
person.
said, this is it. That was it. That's it.
Yeah, this
He's the
is it.
best.
This is it. Queen
Thank
B,
you,
God bless
family.
you.
Thank you.
I gotta wrap this up. It's
Thank
way
you.
over time. So, but
Sorry,
thank you so
family.
much.
Thank you.
No apologies.
Peace
No
and love.
apologies. This was worth spending the time to really give this man his props. You know,
Thank you so much.
really, really, really. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I say to you, Queen B, take care.
Ashe.
All right.
Ashe.
So everybody, please, please get her products. This is her merchandise here. Okay, where you can get her shirts and whatnot and other apparel or merch that she's put out. Also, please take advantage of this discount. All right. And she is excellent. She is excellent. You see, she gets in the details. So she gonna get in your business too. So definitely make sure that y'all do this. So I do want to let you know that the sponsors have been brought to you by, as I said earlier, Nicholas Brooklyn. They're having two events. There are two events taking place on Saturday. One is from 2 to 5. The other one is later in the evening up until about 8. They're both taking place on Saturday. On Sunday, they're going to have Brother Kaba and Professor James Small, which I'm honored to know both of them. In fact, I will be there this coming Sunday also. It's at 1396 Fulton Street in Brooklyn. Also, want to thank Rizza Islam's intellectual products for, whoops, you see this? Okay, there we go. Intellectual products. And all you got to do is click on the QR code and you will get a discount. All righty. Also, I want to thank Jazz Aphrodite for sitting in on me for me Monday. Also, she's sponsoring the show and she has a sale, holiday sale, 20% discount. Also on her jewelry, also on her books. So you got to take advantage of these things. And she has those in silver and in gold. Okay. And also, whoops, where's the gold? Here we go. There's the gold right there. So take your choice, and it's in your number. So if you're a 7, that's what you get. If you're 4, that's what you get. Also, Miss Kimberly, Manifest on Purpose, who does her shows every Monday and Wednesday. She also do weekly wisdom now and a couple other things and whatnot. And by the way, Jazz Aphrodite is going to have a very special on January the 11th of the brand new year of 2025. But speaking of that, Ms. Kimberly is also going to have her vision board mastery class. So I would like everybody to be in attendance for that to see how your mind works. And so when we close this out, let me tell you this. There is a free monthly newsletter for December. And for those of you who don't want to read it, by the way, the newsletter is free. We don't sell your email. We just don't do that. I don't anyway. That's my policy. So that email belongs strictly to Live with Lloyd, period, unless I'm doing something that you'll see, which I'm promoting. For those of you who don't want to read the newsletter, you can hear it on YouTube, okay? And that's the December forecast. For those of you who want to hear the whole year from month to month for 2025, this is the forecast for it too. All righty. So, and on January the 21st, I'm going to be starting the Power Series. Each month there's going to be a Power Series about different topics, things that I can discuss without violating community guidelines, whatever that's about and whatnot. So I'll be doing that. Then in February, I will be teaching a professional numerology course. In April, a professional palmistry course as well. So everybody, I do want to thank you very, very much. Have a very nice day. I kept it longer than I was supposed to, but I think tonight's show was well worth it. And I hope you found it worth it too. Everybody, you'll have a great weekend. Please take good care of yourselves. And I will talk to you on Monday. All righty? Bye. Thank you for the reminder, Simon. I'll make sure it goes up next week.
Hello.
Hey, Sonia, how are you, dear? How's everything?
But hold on, Lloyd. Before you start talking, you're still live on the YouTube thing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.